All right, so welcome everyone. You guys aren't used to seeing me. I was gonna make a joke, be like, "Oh, you guys aren't used to seeing me alone," but a lot of my friends actually are, so that's kind of like a rough subject. I'm pulling up Neon so I can actually kind of talk about this season and everything going on, and I don't even want to talk about the over unders because there's a lot of stuff. I didn't get the least amount right. I don't think, um, but if I was reading Cod's thing correctly, I got it right, or I was tied for first. But let's just kind of go through. In my opinion, the biggest like surprise for me is how good Raiders guy is. I don't even know what the fuck to call him. You know what I mean? Like I don't know his name. I don't. He's very secretive. But Raiders guy, although people have questioned his gameplay, I didn't really see anything bad. He always found the right read, and that's impressive. Um, Also, Jim, great job. You did been doing good. Especially hard. See, it's kind of hard. Kind of like sounds stupid, but it's kind of like when I mean a backup quarterback comes in and starts doing good automatically because no one knows his game plan. But I mean, for you to do it throughout the whole season, that's still pretty impressive, and hopefully it kind of translates through the rest of the CFM because you guys have been good additions. Let me put you guys split screen. Yeah, we'll do that. That way I'm looking at the camera or trying to at least. Um, Another like the people who were like expecting to be good. Soup. I thought Tyron's gonna be rustier than what he was, but I'm also very surprised that A Rod didn't take any snaps. I know why he's doing it, but it's still surprising. Maloney, good job. They're like I don't know how many you're getting 11 or 12 wins, but that's still impressive. Cody, great job. I was expecting more from Germ. Like I said, that and or AFC North Division is a crapshoot. I wasn't expecting, or I could have seen McGee going 500 or a little bit subpar or below that. But I mean, obviously the biggest one too is Jake having the worst record tied with me, especially winning what 4 or 3 or 4 in a row. Last man, it's just that's why everyone's saying he's tanking because no one believes that. You know what I mean? And that's like a good thing. You know what I mean? Because you kind of believe that me being 3-14, I'm ass, but for Jake, it's kind of ridiculous. Um, and on the NFC side, I mean, no one was expecting Woe to number one seed. Wow, no one's expecting that at all. I can almost guarantee it. But at the same time, like I feel like this is kind of a weak division. I don't know if there's anyone I'm missing that's just kind of like. I mean, maybe Jay Mustang could have done better. Mustang could have done better. V Bank kind of let me down, 6-11. But I mean, there's just like these quarterbacks. I know, especially with this man, it's kind of hard to play as good as um, play as good with bad quarterbacks as you could last man. But maybe that's just me. Because I know Tanner Trigga would complain about how having a lot of inaccurates and that wasn't really an issue with Tua unless it was me who did it. You know what I mean? Like I let it too much, but yeah. In terms of actual stats, I'm kind of surprised Waddle did as good as he did. Like I've never used a speedy wide receiver like that, or I've never used him well. And I'm not saying I probably could have done better, but the fact that he's top five, he's number 3 right now, but he's still top five. In the season I had, but I mean, no one could have seen Mike Evans be number 1, but he put up crazy numbers. He almost had a 2,000. He had what 2 cooldowns, and he had close to 2,000 yards receiving. Najee Harris, with Jake's stat padding, that's great. Oh my goodness, J.K. Dobbins, my lord, that's insane. And I'm sure he had to sit down a game or two. So that like stuff like that. Matt Corral with the insane ratio. Same thing with I know Patrick Mahomes had an insane like. These are things that Mahomes makes sense, but like no one expected Matt Corral to be as good as he did. So props to him, especially with the mid quarterback not being as elite as it was last man. I don't think it really mattered to him, but yeah. I'm trying to think. It's only been 4 minutes, my lord. I don't know if there's anything more you guys want me to get into. I mean, I can kind of break down every season or every division. Um, we can kind of talk about the biggest surprise and the biggest letdown or the best coach and the worst coach, like in terms of how they did. So I can do that real quick. So, all right. I'm not surprised that Soup won. I actually makes a lot of sense. He's a really good coach. I am surprised that he didn't use Lamar as much as he did in terms of running ability, but if you're winning, who cares, you know? Obviously, the biggest letdown, Jake. I'm not trying to bash you. It's just we expect you to do better. Jim winning the division. I didn't expect that. I'm pretty sure I said he had 5 wins max. Brock losing. I mean, with that Colts roster, I kind of get it, but I also kind of expected him to still at least make the playoffs. But that division's tough. Shout out to Pax for bringing him from the dead from 0-6 to 8-9. I know you're kind of bummed out that you didn't make the playoffs, but at the same time, what did you expect? AFC East, I definitely am the biggest disappointment. Like I said, I'm very frustrated with myself about that, but kind of, I can only get better, I think, unless next year or the year after that I end up with only 2 wins. So hopefully I can at least get 4 next season. And like I said, Tyrant winning that. Not that it was a surprise, but I really thought he was going to be rustier. He was going to struggle a bit with the new next gen. AFC West, I mean, no one expected the Raiders to win that. If you win it, that's great. But you were 15-2, amazing. Props to you. You really kicked ass this season. Hopefully, you kind of continue, because it's always nice to have a nice division like that where it's 3-headed monster, and then Smithy. I mean, I'm congrats on getting 5 wins. That's great. I know last man you kind of struggled a bit, but for you to get 5 wins, and that's such a fun roster too. So hopefully you're having fun as well. The NFC North, next up, that is Synax. I kind of expected that. I still am surprised that Parker kind of struggled as much as he did, but with that, I have the Bears and IOM, and they're not good. There's a lot of stuff they have to work on. There's a lot of stuff that they're just struggling with. I don't know, but it also didn't help that his PC was kind of suffering a good bit for the first few games as well. So yeah. Next up, NFC South. I'm trying to think. The biggest surprise is that G has been doing so good in this Madden, because I know hopefully he keeps it up, because it's always fun when he wins. It's always fun when because as soon as back then he used to throw a lot of picks, so. And then you kind of not feel bad, but you're like, oh, it's questionable, But if he's winning, who cares? And then Dice, I kind of expected it. I knew him from TSFL years prior, so I know he's got what it takes to win. And then Mustang kind of getting last place was my biggest surprise, just because, I don't know. I really expected more, but it's such a fun team too. There's not that much where you're like, yes, I need to do this, do that. I'm not really sure off the top of my head. Maybe quarterback, maybe wide receiver. I don't know. NFC East, this is a really fun division. Might be my favorite division, just because any season, these 4 teams, I was gonna say 3, these 4 teams could win it all. I just don't know who is the number 1 elite here. Obviously, congrats to Woe for winning number 1 seed, I believe, but man, it's a very fun division. NFC West, congrats to Cod. I was kind of shit talking him all season, and I always kind of go back and forth with him. But with that Raiders roster, for him to win, even year 1, props to him. And he's made some crazy trades, and he's kind of sold off some big players in Aaron Donald and stuff. So for him to make the playoffs year 1, who knows how deep he'll be able to go into the playoffs. But the fact that you have a banner, that's great. Props to you. Biggest disappointment, definitely, like I said, V-Bank. I don't want to shit on him, but with that roster, I was kind of expecting more. But I know, like I said, he also suffered a lot with the new PC. He ended up having to buy one. So, yeah, hopefully kind of changes. But that was really all. This was kind of short. I didn't want to say too much or just have a bunch of filler. I kind of wanted to make this interesting. But, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm pretty sure playoffs start before, so if you guys like this, maybe I'll do predictions, because see who gets what, because I know with the Madden seeding it gets weird. But yeah, so I'll talk to you guys later.